Dude, did you order...
The new iPhone 17 Pro? Got it from Verizon, the best 5G network in America. I've never looked so good.
You look the same.
But with this camera, everything looks better, especially me.
You haven't changed your hair in 15 years. Selfies? Check, please.
New and existing customers can get the new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever. With eligible phone trade-in and unlimited ultimate. Any condition guaranteed. Best 5G source root metrics data, United States, 1H 2025. All rights reserved. Trade-in and additional terms apply for all offers. See Verizon.com for details.
Did you know Tide has been upgraded to provide an even better clean in cold water? Tide is specifically designed to fight any stain you throw at it, even in cold. Butter? Yep. Chocolate ice cream? Sure thing. Barbecue sauce? Tide's got you covered. You don't need to use warm water. Additionally, Tide Pods let you confidently fight tough stains with new Coldzyme technology. Just remember, if it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit when other lenders say no. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. If approved, applications are typically funded the next business day or sooner. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Dude, did you order...
The new iPhone 17 Pro? Got it from Verizon, the best 5G network in America. I've never looked so good.
You look the same.
But with this camera, everything looks better, especially me.
You haven't changed your hair in 15 years. Selfies? Check, please.
New and existing customers can get the new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever. With eligible phone trade-in and unlimited ultimate. Any condition guaranteed. Best 5G source root metrics data, United States, 1H 2025. All rights reserved. Trade-in and additional terms apply for all offers. See Verizon.com for details.
If your small business has a problem, you could say,
"Ugh, just my luck."
But you should say,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And we'll help get you back in business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to day number 3 of 31 Days of Halloween. I've got 2 spooky stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? At 3:17 a.m., a bus that isn't on the schedule arrives outside my house. The context: I'm a middle-aged man who lives on the outskirts of Parbold, a small English village. My house is the only one on a long, winding country road, but it does have a bus stop. From my bedroom window, I can see it on the other side of the road. It's quite handy, really. I never miss the morning bus to work, and I know the schedule off by heart. That's why I was bewildered when I first noticed the 3:17 a.m. bus on Saturday the 14th of October. It woke me up, actually. I'm a light sleeper. I sat upright in my bed, twisted my body around, propped myself up on my knees, and gingerly inched the curtains open. The old lamppost on my road illuminated an ominous, fully grey, non-branded, single-decker bus. There was no interior lighting. I couldn't see a driver or any passengers. Now, this was obviously bizarre. Buses don't show up at that time in the morning. Not in this country. Not in any town or city I know, anyway. Still, I assumed, as any person would. that times were changing. It seemed like a good idea. A bus for those who've missed the last train home after a night out, perhaps. That still didn't entirely make sense, because very few people use my bus stop. It's a 10-minute walk from here to anywhere. I checked the schedule. Nothing. There was a bus at 11:07 p.m. on Friday evening, and there shouldn't have been another one until 6:05 a.m. on Saturday morning. I watched the vehicle pull away and considered, perhaps, that it wasn't a public bus. Maybe it was a hired coach. That seemed like a reasonable explanation. I put it out of my mind and went back to sleep. However, it returned the next morning, and it continued to do so for weeks. Again, I checked the schedule. Still no mention of a 3:17 a.m. bus. I called the council, and they assured me it wasn't a public bus. They said that I could contact the local authorities to report any suspicious activity. So I rang the police. They didn't care. They passed me over to some civil department with a forgettable name, and that department passed me over to another department. Nobody was concerned. It became clear that each person I contacted just wanted me to tire of the whole thing and stop bothering them. I gave up on seeking help, but I didn't give up on my quest for an answer. I started making notes. The bus always arrived at exactly 3:17 a.m. It would linger for approximately 30 seconds. Nobody ever boarded or departed the vehicle. I took a picture of it and posted it on various forums. Nobody could identify the origin of the faceless grey bus. But one comment did stand out. I remember a user telling me that I should sell my house and move. They said that the bus was there for me. Most importantly, they said that I shouldn't, under any circumstances, board it. That seemed like a rather obvious piece of advice. I wasn't planning on boarding a sketchy unlisted bus in the pitch-black hours of the morning. But everything changed on November the 20th. The bus arrived on time, 3:17 a.m. I knelt on my bed and peeked at it through the curtain as it rounded the corner. Something was different. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Once the vehicle had rolled to a complete stop, I heard it. Somebody on the bus was screaming. I froze. I didn't know what to do. Silence followed. I knew I hadn't imagined it. I knew I'd heard that scream. I watched the bus and waited. 30 seconds passed. A lot of time passed. When I finally peeled my eyes from the road to check my phone, it was 3:29 a.m. The bus hadn't moved. The world outside was still eerily quiet. I reattached myself to reality and started dialing 999. The call kept failing. And then I saw that I had no signal. None. I usually had signal at the house. I was freaked out, so I got up to turn on my bedroom light. Nothing. I flicked the switch back and forth. No power. The story was the same throughout the house. I was about to head to the fuse box, but I looked out of my living room window to see a blackened world. The lamppost was dead. It had to be a power cut. That was when I finally understood. For the first time in my 10 years of solitary living, that I was truly isolated. I had no neighbours, no friends, no family. I was all alone. The gravity of the situation dawned on me. I would have to leave the house. My self-preservation instinct was to stay indoors, but I couldn't ignore the disembodied scream that had echoed through the night. I knew it had come from that bus. I knew I couldn't live with myself if I were to dismiss it. Armed with a winter coat and a wind-up torch, I bravely ventured into the night, locking my door behind me. I tentatively strolled down my front path, stopping at the gate to cast the torchlight onto the other side of the road. It revealed the grey, stationary, seemingly abandoned bus. There was no signs of life. Everything was so quiet. I swore to myself that I could hear my heartbeat in my eardrums. I swung the creaky gate open and began to cross the road, futilely attempting to steady my quaking knees. My torch wobbled in my shaky left hand, so I clasped my wrist with my right hand. I shone the light into the windows of the parked vehicle. There was definitely no driver, but it was an elevated coach, so I couldn't see if there were any passengers. I walked around the front of the vehicle, summoning the courage to enter it. When I reached the other side of the bus, I stood still. I tried to control my breathing. I eyed the doors for what seemed like an eternity, and then I felt my entire body clench. The doors opened. My torchlight still wasn't revealing a driver. I couldn't see or hear anyone. I thought for a brief moment of that internet stranger who told me not to board the bus. I couldn't get the scream out of my head. My gut told me that somebody was in danger. I stepped onto the bus and started to climb the stairs. The doors closed. I held the torch before me, as if it were a weapon, and I gradually climbed the next set of stairs to the elevated passenger platform. I spent several seconds on each step, savouring what I felt could be my final moments on Earth. Then, I illuminated the passenger area before me. I half expected to see nothing. No, there was somebody on the bus. The young girl was sitting on the middle seat of the back row. Her head was in her palms. She was crying. I couldn't see her face. "Are you okay?" I asked timidly. No answer. So I started to walk forwards. I didn't know whether there was anyone else on board. I couldn't leave her. Once I was standing only a few yards in front of her, I knelt down in the aisle. "Are you okay?" I asked a second time. The girl's crying abruptly ceased, but she didn't lift her head from her hands. "You shouldn't have boarded the bus," she replied. My torch died. I furiously wound the lever at the side, but it didn't spring back to life. The girl and I had been plunged into darkness. Then I heard the bus doors open. I slowly turned my head to face the front of the bus. I could hear the sound of low, guttural breathing. It was followed by clunking footsteps. Dim moonlight shone through the front window, but it was sufficient to display a hulking figure at the other end of the aisle. A black spectre with gangly limbs was moving toward us. He hunched forwards, and his elongated arms dragged along the tops of the seats. He was too tall and too wide to fit in the aisle. I turned to face the girl. She had lifted her head from her hands. I could barely see her. I could barely hear her. "This is the last stop," she whispered. "I was really hoping you wouldn't board. I wanted more time." Before I could even comprehend what was happening, I felt an icy limb coil itself around my ankle. It yanked, and I fell. My nose connected with the floor of the aisle, and I heard something crack. I thought that was it. I thought that was the end. But I looked up to see the demonic creature coil its other limb around the girl's neck. It hoisted her from her seat. She screamed as she was lifted towards the indistinguishable figure in the aisle. I couldn't really see what happened in the darkness, but I'll never forget the sound her body made when it was consumed by the black entity. It sounded like leaves crunching beneath walking boots. I had almost entirely lost my sense of reality at this point. Some vestige of survival instinct persisted in my fractured mind. I twisted onto my back and looked down at my ankle. I couldn't really see what I was doing in the dark. I just knew I had to act. So with my free foot, I stamped on the creature's limb. I stamped as hard as humanly possible. The demon, which had been devouring the poor girl, unleashed an inhuman wail. It pierced my eardrums and shattered every window on the bus. The limb retracted from my ankle and returned to the shadowy being. I seized my opportunity, catapulting to my feet. I spun around and lunged for the now glassless back window of the bus, clinging to the frame of the window for dear life. I took one last look at the dark entity that was hurtling towards me. Then I dropped to my feet on the ground. I sprinted away from the bus. Adrenaline fueled me onwards. I didn't look back, I just kept running. At the speed I travelled, I think it only took me a few minutes to reach the warm and welcoming lights of civilization. I looked at my phone and cried when I saw that I had service. I booked a taxi. I wanted the farthest possible destination. I chose Manchester. Then I took the first train to London. For the past couple of weeks, I've been living in a hotel. I know I was a little late, but I finally took the advice of that online stranger. I moved away. I moved far away. I don't go outside at night, and I definitely don't look out of the window after 3 a.m. I found this story so incredibly dark. It's given me that kind of not the ick, but that kind of icky feel, if you get what I mean. That kind of feeling that stays with you and it haunts you. It's spooky, really spooky. Are you ready for the second story? The tree on the side of the road. I moved to a 1,700 hectare farm in the province of Limpopo after my stay in the Kruger National Park as a game ranger. On this farm, I looked over the animals, caravan, park and lodge. No harmful animals willingly kept on the property. Essentially a mini game reserve where people could walk and cycle and enjoy life in the bush for a vacation. The reserve is in a small, outdated mining town where the young people never stay and the old people live long. There are workers who stay on the property. The day I arrived to the reserve was normal, except for one thing. It was 10 a.m. and about 40 kilometres before entering the town's main road. I noticed there was a fairly large marula tree lying on the side of the road, as if someone had just plucked it out of the ground with no issue. Lots of locals standing around staring, some not entertaining it. I had to rub my eyes and focus on the road. I thought nothing much of it, just thought the wind blew it over. Must have been rotting at the roots. A few months go by. Life on the reserve is great. I get to paintball troublesome baboons and monkeys, etc. And just overall get in touch with the wildlife. I even named a few that I got to see regularly. I even had a tame ostrich that would always be nearby my cottage. I hear one of the staff mention the tree that I saw, but not under the circumstances that I knew. In this case, the guy was talking about his vision going blurry every time he drives past that tree. Come to think of it, I'd had trouble with clear vision. I played it down. Coincidence. A week or so later, I drive to a town outside of this one to get some supplies that this town didn't have. And I didn't even think about the tree. I got the supplies I needed and came back. Then I noticed the tree again. Only this time it's planted back like normal. I thought I obviously have a different tree in my mind. A week later, again I see it. But this time it's planted upside down, roots in the air, branches in the ground, dirt all around as if recently moved. Now I think I'm losing it. The tears well up in my eyes and I'm just creeped out. I keep driving to that other little town. I come back and that whole stretch of road, my vision was blurry and I wanted to see that tree, but this time couldn't see with HD vision until I turned a corner. Now, when I visit, that tree doesn't exist. The staff on the property told me that it's a local witch doctor showing his authorities to the locals by how much power he has. He would speak to the tree and it would uproot itself. Then he'd tell it to replant, etc. They told me that the witch doctors even had the power to summon things out of nowhere and place things randomly. The locals don't go near that spot where the tree was. They say it's cursed.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit when other lenders say no. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
I love a story about a tree. I'm pretty obsessed with trees, to tell you the truth, and I'm just a bit sad there aren't more of them. But this is a great story. I have heard there are certain types of trees that in folklore the devil turned upside down, and that's why they have the roots on the branches, something like that anyway. But this is a great story, and imagine you were in that village and somebody turned a tree upside down with their powers. Yep, they have my respect for sure, and I'd be fearing them. But that's the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
I like things my way, my coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the new Vyvgart Hytrulo prefilled syringe, which contains Efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. Now I can inject in my space on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo, brought to you by Argenix.
Did you know 39% of teen drivers admit to texting while driving? Even scarier, those who text are more likely to speed and run red lights. Shockingly, 94% know it's dangerous but do it anyway. As a parent, you can't always be in the car, but you can stay connected to their safety with Greenlight Infinity's driving reports. Monitor their driving habits, see if they're using their phone, speeding, and more. These reports provide real data for meaningful conversations about safety. Plus, with weekly updates, you can track their progress over time. Help keep your teens safe. Sign up for Greenlight Infinity at greenlight.com/podcast.
If low energy, weight gain, or a drop in sex drive are holding you back, testosterone replacement therapy from Henry Meds may help you reclaim your edge. Their TRT treatments are backed by trusted providers who understand men's health. It's 100% online and discreet and includes free labs for a flat monthly fee. Start your journey towards strength and performance. Visit henrymeds.com/TRT to learn more and get $50 off today. Not all patients are eligible. Results may vary. Consult a healthcare provider to determine if treatment is right for you.